Welcome back to GSMC's Down by Contact Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Lapidus. Today is Friday, April 4th. If you were just tuning in, we just finished talking about the Final Four for both the men's and the women's, a preview of both of those games. In this segment, we turn our attention to baseball. 1 week into the MLB season, and a lot has changed. My perception, your perception, and everything we expected about this MLB season has been thrown for a loop. We're going to talk about that with our MLB Power Rankings coming up for you in a second. But before we do, remember, if you would like to be an even bigger part of the show than you already are, all you need to do is go to gsmcpodcast.net. Or if you're on YouTube, you can use that super chat feature. If you do either of those two things, a message should pop up on the bottom of the screen for you, me, and everybody else around the world to see. If you do have a burning question about sports, anything at all that you would like to ask, go ahead and throw that in the comments. Throw it in the chat. I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. I appreciate everybody so much for sticking around, talking some sports with me here on a beautiful Friday, April 4th. But like I was saying, we are going to get a little bit here into the MLB Power Rankings. The MLB Power Rankings, of course, every single Friday for us here on GSMC's Down by Contact Sports Podcast. Fresh off the presses, starting off with a new team at the bottom, down 3 spots from last week. It's the Colorado Rockies. Now, we don't take too much stock in the preseason power rankings. Those, as we will see with some of the massive jumps and falls the teams have taken so far, the water will find its level. But minus 3 spots for the Rockies, they've just looked like the worst team in baseball. Their offense has not been able to hit, and their pitching just is not really up to snuff right now. Are they going to finish off the season as the worst team in baseball? Are they worse than the White Sox? It certainly looks like it right now. The White Sox shut out a team earlier. The Rockies have just not been able to do that. But the Rockies find themselves at the bottom after 1 week of baseball, down 3 spots to number 30. At number 29, though, we have those Chicago White Sox. They're up a spot. How about that? 2-4 so far on the season. This is a Chicago White Sox team that is not very good, but maybe is better than last year. At least they started off over 500 for the first time in at least a whole calendar year. It's been a very long time. Chicago White Sox at 29. At 28, our first kind of big fall is the Washington Nationals. They fall 5 spots. The starting pitching for this team has been phenomenal, at least on the front end of that unit. Mackenzie Gore throws out one of the best first opening day starts we have ever seen. The best since Bob Gibson. Putting up Bob Gibson-style numbers is crazy. Then you have Jake Irvin go out and throw a gem against the Phillies. You have all of these. You've Mitchell Parker come out and throw a gem against the Phillies. Then you get to the back end and you play the Blue Jays and nothing's going, right? You're now 1-5 right now. You are the sole team to put a crack into that Phillies armor so far, but a lot of it's been because of that bullpen. The bullpen has been atrocious for the Nationals, not to mention the lack of hitting. They've got a couple home runs, but aside from power, they've got really nothing. They can't hit with runners in scoring position. They just haven't really been able to get runners on base as consistently as you would like, and the Washington Nationals, until that bullpen is back, are just going to be down here at number 28. At 27, we have the A's. No city affiliation. They're playing in a small ballpark, and it's just not that good. They're down 3 spots to number 27 here. I like some of the offseason moves, and I like some of the players that they have. This is just a team that, as long as they play in that stadium, is just not going to be successful. The pitching is not good enough for a team like the A's to be a contender of any sort in Sacramento. At number 26, we've got the Pittsburgh Pirates. They're down 1 spot here. They are kind of what we expected of them, right? They're not great, but they're keeping it close with the Marlins, which I guess you can like. You got Paul Skeens, who's pitching amazing. Paul Skeens very good at baseball here, but this Pirates team just it isn't it this year. Speaking of the Marlins, they're right above them at 25. They're up 4 spots here. They walked off the Pirates 3 times in the first series. That is something that hasn't been done in a very, very long time, opening your season with 3 straight walk-offs. But the Miami Marlins, once they started facing, good teams again, they're not going to win. Maybe they can be the proud top of best of the worst kind of ranking. But for now, that's where they sit, up 4 spots to 25. The Brewers are our biggest fallers so far, minus 6 spots to number 24. They just looked horrendous. The normal piece of their team that is, their most successful point, the starting pitching, got absolutely wrecked by the Yankees. It wasn't just the torpedo bats, although I know it helped. Of course it does. When you have, a better sweet spot, you're going to be better at hitting the ball. It doesn't take a genius to put the dots together why the torpedo bats are working. But the Milwaukee Brewers got absolutely shellacked by the Yankees. That starting pitching just has not been good. They're down here at 24. At 23, up 5 spots, it's the Los Angeles Angels. I've been really impressed with this team. Again, not super impressed. They were playing the White Sox. So, not the most impressed, but still, they've got a little bit there. I like the back end of their bullpen. Mike Trout's still kicking. He got an injury scare already, but if he can stay healthy, this team is, again, a contender with the Marlins to be best of the worst. Nice distinction there. Getting to 22, we've got the Minnesota Twins, and this is our first real big movement, minus 12 spots. They were in our top 10. Injuries have already started to strike. Royce Lewis dealing with injuries. The offense just hasn't really exploded the way that I expected it to. Again, injuries. The big if with the Twins was if they can stay healthy. They have not stayed healthy, but they're a team I still believe in. Their division is as open as it possibly can get. All 5 teams in a 5-way tie at 2-4, which is why we're just going to go on a little bit of a run of AL Central teams, because right ahead of the Twins, I've got the Kansas City Royals. They're down 9 spots to number 21. This is a Royals team that lost 2-3 to the Guardians. Their pitching's been solid, and Bobby Witt's been amazing, but this team just has not been consistent enough with their pitching staff for me to move them up. And that's why the Guardians are ahead of them. Again, we're running this AL Central gauntlet right now. They're minus 5 to number 20. Jose Ramirez is still amazing. They lost a little bit, but they'll figure it out. This is a team that I don't really have a lot of fears of, but that AL Central is wide open, which, again, why we finish off that AL Central. We just got Twins, Royals, Guardians, and now the Tigers at number 18. They're actually up 2 spots. The reason I'm moving them up to 19 is because they played the Dodgers. And, losing to the Dodgers, I don't know if that really counts as a loss. And I'm only half joking there, really. They played tight against the Dodgers. The Dodgers had to come back, had some walk-offs against them. They played really good. So they're up a couple spots here, but still at 2-4, I'd like to see them get a couple more wins before I really start to raise them up a little too far. At number 18, I've got the St. Louis Cardinals. I was really low on this Cardinals team. They're up 8 spots right now. They're having one of their best starts in almost 30 years. It's kind of crazy. Nolan Arenado is back to hitting his stride, which is kind of what was missing. I wasn't really expecting him to come back. This is a team that could be okay. Again, a pretty weak NL Central as well. Could see anybody win that division. At number 17, though, it's the Cincinnati Reds. They're down 4 spots. They had a couple of tough series. I love Elly De La Cruz. He's back, and he's playing like an MVP level kind of guy. Early on in the season, we'll have to see. Matt McClain's playing great baseball. The pitching staff is healthy right now. A little concerned about the bullpen, but this is a Reds team that I still am very, very high on. At number 16, we've got the Seattle Mariners. They are down 7 spots right now to number 16. The concern, once again, the offense. The pitching staff's been great. They outdueled Tariq Skubal, but this is a Mariners team that desperately needed to make a big move offensively, and they just simply didn't do it. And because of that, they're going to be struggling to find their way to the playoffs this year. At number 15, I've got the Cubs. Kyle Tucker, the addition there, has been amazing. They're up 1 spot right now. I love this Cubs team. They're, again, going to be in that race for the NL Central. That's going to be a crowded one. Both Central divisions are as up for grabs as you possibly could imagine. Can't wait to see how those races get down the stretch of the season. Now a couple disappointing teams. The Astros are down 6 to number 14. The Houston Astros are a team that haven't really hit the ball yet, but I'm not counting them out. They've still got really good pitching. They still have Yordan Alvarez, and they still have Jose Altuve, and they still have World Series MVP Jeremy Pena, and they still have all of these names up and down the list that are just going to turn it on at some point. I'm not dropping them too far. they're down to number 6, or down to number 14, I should say. But a team I did drop pretty far, the Atlanta Braves, are right ahead of them. The only winless team left in the MLB, Jurickson Profar, suspended for 80 games and will miss the playoffs. Injuries, Sean Murphy, you're still dealing with injuries with him. This is a Braves team that thought they were out of the weeds with all the bad news. They thought they were going to start to get some of their guys back and be solid. Instead, I know they got swept by the Yankees, which, again, doesn't really count. So I'm willing to hold out a little more hope for this Braves team. I think they're very good still. They'll find a way to turn it around. At number 12, we've got the Toronto Blue Jays, up 10 spots. They split with the Orioles, and then they sweep the Nats. The Nats don't really mean anything in a sweep right now, but splitting with the Orioles, despite dealing with some injuries, Vlad Guerrero's having a good year. Andres Jimenez, how about Andres Jimenez? He's having an excellent year offensively, not someone that I expected to really have a big power surge early in the season, but he's for sure been that guy that they added to the lineup. I love the trade for Jimenez. I thought he was going to really help defensively, but offensively, he's done his thing, and it's really helped propel the Blue Jays up to the top half of the league. Ahead of them, I've got the O's. Again, they split with the Blue Jays there, but I like this Orioles team a little more. Adley Rutschman's been playing a little bit better. This is an Orioles team, plus 6 spots. I think they're going to be right back where they were last season. The Boston Red Sox are ahead of them, entering the top 10 at number 10. Down 3 spots for them. They were at 7 last week. Rafael Devers has had a nightmare beginning of the season. This is a team that will turn it around. They had a tough matchup against the Texas Rangers. I think this team's very good. They extended Crochet. I'm not worried about this team at all. They'll be just fine. At number 9, we have the New York Mets, another team that's kind of started off a little slow, but Juan Soto's figured it out. He's got a home run already. I'm a little concerned about the depth, but in the top 10 for now, the New York Mets sit. At number 8, we've got the Tampa Bay Rays. That stadium of theirs feels really good. It feels like it fits them. They're playing in a spring league stadium, a spring training stadium, so it's not quite a minor league park. It's a little bit different there. Curious how it goes when it comes to the summertime, but for now, the Rays playing good baseball. They're up 6 spots to number 8. Our first massive jump of the day as sees the San Francisco Giants climb, I should say, to number 7. They're up 12 spots here. I'd underranked them a little bit. They play in a brutal division. They're still 4th place in that division, despite having one of their best starts in a long time for their franchise. The San Francisco Giants, behind the Dodgers and the Padres, both undefeated, as well as the Diamondbacks, who are playing great baseball right now. They are a very dangerous team. They're starting to put it together. It's just going to be really tough because they are in a bloodbath of a division. The Texas Rangers up next to number 6, down 2 spots from last week. They started to put it together. They took care of business against the Red Sox. This is a team that I think is going to compete for the AL pennant this year. I really am a huge fan of the Rangers. At number 5, our biggest jump is the Yankees. I had them at 20 last week because I thought they'd be kind of average after losing Juan Soto and Garrett Cole to injuries/free agency, but they've been just fine. Of course, the torpedo bats and going up against the Brewers pitching has been pretty beneficial to them. But still, this is a Yankees team that has surprised me with how good they've been, how good Aaron Judge is. I don't think I should be surprised by that anymore, but I just consistently am. I seem to underrate him sometimes, I guess. But the Yankees are in the top 5 at that 5 spot and are once again threatening to be the AL pennant winners. At number 4, though, now we get into an NL fest. The Arizona Diamondbacks fall 1 spot to number 4 here. This is a Diamondbacks team that, with the top 2, we saw them take care of business against the Yankees 2 out of 3 with their top 2 pitchers. Corbin Burnes and Zach Gallen is a deadly 1-2 punch. The offense is going to come alive soon. They've extended Ketel Marte. I love this Diamondbacks team, and they are firmly in the top 5. The Philadelphia Phillies, they are up 2 spots to number 3. The Phillies go out there. They have a very, very good year this year already. I'd like to see a little bit more out of them, of course, but this is a Philadelphia Phillies team. Once that offense starts going, once you start to get healthy a little bit more, the pitching staff has been amazing. And I know they've played the Rockies and the Nats, but still, a very good start to the season for the Philadelphia Phillies. At number 2, we've got the San Diego Padres, one of 2 undefeated teams, and they're not even first in their division. They're 7-0 right now. The vibes are high. They extended Jackson Merrill. I love this Padres team. The issue is, again, like the Giants, like the Diamondbacks, they are in the bloodbath division, the one with the Dodgers in it. The Padres still giving them a run for the money, though. And at number 1, who could have possibly seen this coming, guys? I know I didn't, but it's the Los Angeles Dodgers. 8-0, the hottest start after winning a World Series. They're on pace to win 162 games. They win games however they please. They're not trying that hard, it seems like. They can fall behind, and they just don't care. Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, one of them will hit a walk-off home run. They just know it's going to happen. This is a Dodgers team that is phenomenal. They're playing great baseball, and honestly, I don't think they'll ever lose a game. That's maybe a little bit too much, but they are a real threat to shatter the record for most wins in a season. And I think the way they're playing, they're absolutely bound to do it. But let me know what your thoughts are. I'll run through the top 10 real quick. Red Sox at 10, Mets at 9, Rays at 8, Giants at 7, Rangers at 6, Yankees at 5, Diamondbacks at 4, Phillies at 3, Padres at 2, and the Dodgers at number 1. Let me know what your thoughts are for the first week of our MLB Power Rankings. Things will change. Water will find its level. There's 162 games. Try not to overreact too much. We'll find out next week. I'd love to hear your thoughts. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we turn our attention back to the NFL. 2 massive extensions to talk about with the Cardinals and the Raiders. We'll talk about that coming up next here on GSMC's Down by Contact Sports Podcast.